So welcome. Tonight we are going to be looking at, for those of you who haven't been before, we've been looking at a little bit of a series through the past few months. And we've been looking at fear and distress in January. We're looking at connection last month. And this month, we're going to be looking at contentment and satisfaction. So this all comes a little bit from what I see in my day job and what I felt I should be sharing with you. So tonight is that contentment, satisfaction in our souls, but in our bodies as well. And the class, if you haven't done it before, is facilitated rather than led. That's partly legal. That's also just going, this is also your space. We are not in Zumba. You do not have to follow me. If you want to lie on your face, I encourage that. If you want to snooze in the corner or make up your own moves, it's absolutely fine. If you need to leave or anything at any point, that's fine. Just give me a little wave, give me a thumbs up so I know that you're okay, and then you can just leave whenever you're ready. At the end, we do tend to end fairly quietly, although it's getting noisier. I think each time we're getting less good at that. And if you do want to stay and hold that place of hopefully peace and contentment and satisfaction tonight, feel free just to fold up your mat and put on your shoes and just slip out the door. There's no expectation for you to stay and, I don't know, wash mugs or roll mats. It's fine. Just take that home. That is absolutely our gift to you. And as I said, this is facilitated. So if you're not happy with anything I'm suggesting, ignore me. Do whatever you fancy. If you want to do something different, that's fine. And if you want to modify or stop anything I'm doing, absolutely, please, please, please do that. So we're going to divide our session into two halves tonight. I know this is quite controversial as this is a church-based event. I do not have a scripture for you tonight. I have a song and I'm going to be using those lyrics. But if you have scriptures and you want to kind of note it down in your phone as you go along or anything like that, please, please, please go for it. So as we always start, we're going to start by just coming to a position of comfort. I'm going to be staying in this upright position just so that I can talk to you all. But if you want to lie down, if you want to sit, you can take a position that works for you. So we're going to start by just becoming aware of our breath and body. And I want you to see if you can take your first few breaths up and down your body. So taking that breath in up from the base of where your body contacts with the floor, all the way up to the crown of the head. And then exhaling, melting back down those shoulders, down your spine, all the way into the ground. And then that in-breath again, let it softly float up through your body, all the way through the crown of the head. And then exhaling all the way back down your spine, melting and easing your body into its connection with the floor. The last breath, all the way up, soft and light, opening the body. And then exhaling down, grounding and supporting the body. And then let your breath just soothe into the rest of your body as works for you. Let it go where it wants to go. And as I said, tonight we're going to be looking at two things: satisfaction and contentment. So as we just come into the session, I want you just to notice, what do those words mean to you? To be satisfied, to be content. Are they words of comfort? Or are they words of I should? I should feel grateful. I should feel contented. I should feel satisfied. Or does it invite you into a place that soothes you and comforts you? whichever it is. Just allow yourself to notice that. Without judgment, without correction. Just be aware of what those words say to you. Now we're going to turn the first part of the session towards satisfaction. We're going to explore working hard. So whatever hard means for you in this session, that's fine. Work to an intensity that suits your body. But we're going to go to a place where we're going to explore what it feels like to give our best, give our heart to something, give our soul to something, without having to push beyond that, knowing that what we have done is good, what we have done feels good for our body, and that we feel that satisfying tiredness. And I'm really aware that I'm a physio, so I have a bizarre sense of what satisfying tired challenge means in your body. So I want you to explore that. So I'm going to be taking you through a slightly more high intensity flow than that we've done in previous weeks. And then after that, we are going to stop, know that we have worked, and know that it is done, and know that we can come to a place of peace and stopping and satisfaction in what has happened. So in your own time, if you'd like to come up into a standing position. So as I said, please just adapt your movements as feels best for your body. And I want you to first of all just ground your feet so they're about hip distance apart, but you feel really, really supported in your spine and feel supported in those hips. So just settling those feet as wide as feels comfortable for you. Feeling those feet connect into the floor and a softness floating to the crown of the head. I want to exhale and then just let yourself melt down towards the floor. Just gently massaging and stretching out your spine as you roll forwards towards the floor. Continuing to allow yourself to fold. Let yourself come down towards your toes, rocking your weight slightly forwards into your feet. Notice the stretch up the back of the legs. And then as you exhale, press through your feet. If you want to, you can engage through your core if you need to as you roll back up into standing. So we're going to use this lovely soft movement to challenge ourselves with a stretch. So exhale, feeling chin to chest. So again, as you do this, and this exercise should hopefully feel quite soothing with a nice stretch at the bottom. Just notice again what it felt like when I said we were going to work hard. We were going to push ourselves a little bit more. We were going to find that satisfaction and then rest. What was triggered? Did you go, oh no, I didn't come here to sweat and have to do difficult moves? Or did you feel that you were excited about moving a little bit harder? So continue your roll downs, feeling up and down at a pace that feels like it just smooths out your body, prepares your body. And on your next one, you're going to roll down, peeling down towards the floor, reaching your fingertips nice and low. I want you then to bend one knee, straightening the other leg for a deeper stretch, and then switch to the other side. So we bend one knee, straighten the other, and repeat on the other side. Feeling yourself just gently push into the hips and the pelvis. Keep that going in your own time. And allow yourself to find a stretch. Allow yourself to find that bit of effort. You can rest your hands on your knees if you prefer a little bit of support. And then from here, we're going to work our way down the floor. I'm going to give you two options when you get here. Either you can go into a full walkout into your plank, and then holding for the in-breath, then exhale, walk yourself back into your hamstring stretch. So this is your higher, more intensity option. We're going to be going high plank, back into your hamstring stretch. If you don't like that, and you don't like the walking on your wrist, You're going to come down here to hands and knees. You're going to send yourself up to your pike for your hamstring stretch. And then you're going to pop those knees down and take yourself to a shell stretch. So I'm going to keep going between those two. And feel free to kind of have a go at both of them. So your modified version is knees down, send yourself back for your rest, and then send yourself forwards and up into a pike, stretching out those legs. If not, you're going to walk those hands in, hold for the hamstring stretch, and then walk those hands back out again. So as you feel your body working harder, as you feel that effort, notice the sense of activation and power in your body. Know that your effort is for something good, that you are working in a way that challenges but respects your body's limits. It's okay to feel that sense of fatigue. See if you can feel and lean into that sense of challenge in the body, either going between your walkouts or going into your shell stretch and then rocking forwards and sending your hips up into your pike. So either of those movements, kneeling into pike or walkouts into planks. As you're doing these next couple, just notice how your heart rate is going up. Maybe a little bit out of breath. I know a few of us are post-Sunday lunch and all sorts, maybe regretting our food choices before this. But know that your body is working and feeling that satisfaction in your work. Feeling your body respond to the demand and meet up to it. On your next one, whichever version you're doing, you're going to walk yourself out, bring those knees down, and everybody's going to take a shell stretch just for a moment. If you don't like being in a full fold at your knees and hips, you can come forwards here into a version of puppy stretch and allow yourself just to rest for a moment. Whichever feels better for your body, just stay there for a moment. Feel how your body has warmed up. Notice your heart rate up. Maybe feeling a little bit warmer. Good opportunity to take a layer off if you want to. So check in with that word once more. What does being satisfied mean to you? Is it full of guilt and shame and judgment? I should be satisfied. Or does it give you sanctuary and shelter? Can you be satisfied with you, with what you're doing, with who you are, not because you're resigned to it, because you see all the good in it. On your next out breath, we're going to send ourselves forwards onto our elbows, forearms down to the floor. We've got a couple of options here. Either again, we can go into our full plank from our elbows. If you want to, you can send your hips a bit higher. If that feels too much into your spine or your back, you can drop those knees here. I want you to think about pushing the mat away, sending the spine long, sending the effort into your tummy. Feel that effort. So either long legs or knees down. We're going to hold it here. Continuing to breathe, continuing to press down into the legs, press down into those forearms. Feel the effort in your tummy and your chest, lifting you up into your spine. Don't be afraid of that effort. Now, I'm not going to tell you when to stop. I mean, I will if we want to move on to a meditation, but, go for it. But I'm not going to tell you when to rest. And we're just going to keep going in and out of this. So I want you to check in with yourself. When are you pushing too hard and not being satisfied with what you're doing, not honoring the effort that your body is making? Do you tend to push yourself hard and ignore the signs from your body and your soul that they're asking you to stop? Or does it scare you to push? Does it scare you to have to work at that intensity? Can you lean into that and find that effort? It's a really hard line to walk. To know that your body is working hard. What you have done is enough. And you deserve to stop, but you can go again and again if you listen to that time to stop. So look for that good and satisfying effort. Good and satisfying hard work. And then honor it and thank it for stepping back, knowing what you have done is good and pleasing. So not ignoring that effort, not ignoring that hard work, but coming alongside it. When can you say, I've done my best, I've done my all. I've respected my physical, my humanness, but I've served in all my heart and all my effort, all the power and strength that I can give. And if you aren't already, I'm going to ask you to come back to that shell or that puppy stretch and just stop and pause. Allow yourself into that shell position. You can lay on your front, you can sit up, whichever feels good for you. Just stay in position of rest and surrender. Just feel the echo of hard work around your body. Can you feel it in your muscles? Can you feel it in your heart? In your breathing? And now, your body hopefully feeling a little bit recovered. If you're in the room with me, I'm going to get you to roll onto your side, facing in towards the center of the room, this middle line here. And if you're online and watching this back, just turn onto one side. We're going to rest ourselves on our elbows, like we're, I don't know, lounging for a catalogue, okay? And we're going to send a little bit of effort into the side of the body now. I'm going to, again, give you some options, and I want you to work in that intensity that you know you're challenging, but we're not going to be silly and proud about it. So I'm going to exhale, press my hips up off the floor and hold it there for a moment. See, how does that feel for you? Are you okay there? Does that feel effortless, or does that feel really hard? And then as you exhale, you're going to come back down again. I'm going to give you the option, if you want to, you can do this with straight legs and come out here to this long side plank. You might want to keep your top hand on the floor if that feels more comfortable for you, but if that feels too much, come back to that side plank. So you're just playing for now, going, okay, what feels, I'd say sensible, but what feels like an appropriate challenge for you? What feels like a silly challenge? Okay, and I'm going to let you just come and rest for a second. We're going to go in something called a side bend, and I love this exercise because not only does it challenge you from strength, but it also asks you to lengthen and let go as well. So it's that real contrast between effort and release, and I think this epitomizes what we're doing tonight. So from your knees, from here, you're going to reach that top arm up and over. You're going to lift those hips, so you're stretching the side body at the top, and you're using underside body. And then you bring those hips back down on the floor. So it's like we're painting big old stripes over the ceiling, lifting ourselves into this arch and then back down. You can do this from a long leg, lifting up. And if you don't like being down on your elbow, you prefer it's a little bit kinder on the shoulder, you can do it here. So any neck and shoulder problems, you might prefer to be here or here, up on your palm, or you can do it down on your elbow. So we come, exhale up, side bend, lift up and over, and then release back down again. So again, we're looking now of balancing in our body, both effort as well as letting go. And again, you're going to keep going with this until you go, I'm done. I've worked hard. You can take a little stretch and release and come back into it when you're ready, if you're ready. I'm going to go all those options again. I know this is a bit more workshop style tonight. So we're lifting with side bend and lower down. So it's those hips, it's like the puppet string at the top, stretching us over. The underside of the body is pressing and lifting up. It's working on its power. The upper side of the body is thinking about lengthening and letting go, stretching away. So you're going to feel that underneath arm working. As I said, as many repetitions as you feel happy to. And then you can come and rest whenever you want to. So if you want to do lift and lowers, and then come back down, that's fine. I'm going to give anybody who's still wanting to do more reps, just another 10 seconds. Yes. And then when you finish that last one, I'm going to need you to push yourself up. That hand that's been on the floor, you send yourself up into that sitting side, and then you're going to stretch that side into the air. Nice mermaid bend. So that side that's been working, you're just giving it that space again. Replacing hard work with recovery. Replacing striving with satisfaction. And then when you're ready, release that hand. And all I'm going to do is if you just sweep your legs around, the other end of your mat, exactly the same thing again. Elbow onto the floor. And then you're going to lift up and down. So hips come off the floor, have a go from there. Hips come off and back down. So if you want to have a go going to full legs, if you want to have a go going from the palm, that's fine. And then when you've got that, top arm reaches over, underside lengthens, underside shortens, top side lengthens. You're just going to go in and out of this. So that's your full version. High level, hard work at the top here. Modified version, you can come down over palm or elbow, do your hip lifts and just sweep the arm over. All of it is going to be working the muscles in the same way, asking the top side of the body to let go and not brace and fix and hold on, whilst the underside is working hard from the shoulder all the way down the body. It's okay to feel a little bit out of breath. It's okay to be finding this one hard, working you onto one shoulder. Whichever version feels good for you. And again, I'm going to give you 10 more seconds to do the last couple of repetitions or just enjoy your recovery if you're having a rest. Make this next one your last repetition. And then when you're ready, release down. And now that underneath arm presses up towards the sky. Your legs can sweep to the side or in front. I want you to imagine you're pushing the ceiling away. Replacing that effort with recovery. In your own time, releasing that arm down. We're going to come and lie on our backs now. One last bit of effort, one last bit of hard work in getting that heat up. So if you've got a head block or a cushion, you can grab that now. We're going to be laying on our back for this last little piece before we go into the second half of our session. If you want a headlock, you can place it there. It's not compulsory. And just as we transition again, have that amazing moment of going from hard work into, there's the mat, there's the floor. Thank goodness for gravity, and letting go. Now we're going to be working into something called 100, and I have been pushing you tonight into power and effort and working at that intensity. And this is a sustained static position. I'm going to give you loads of different ideas of how to modify this. And I want you to feel like you're working hard here in your tummy, in your core, not in your lower back, not in your neck. So that's all I ask for this, is that it's tummy work, not neck and lower back. So we're going to exhale and just float our right leg up to make a little tabletop with our shin. You should feel our little shelf of our shin here, and our knees roughly over our hip here. And you'll feel that your tummy is engaging to hold you there. You might notice a little bit of work in the leg and into the front of the hip there. That's okay, but see if you can use your tummy to stabilize you and hold that leg there. And then on your next out breath, we're going to pop that foot down and then have a go on the other side. Lifting the leg up, engaging in that deep tummy, lifting into your deep core. If you're not sure what that means, just let your tummy do the work. Don't let parts of your body are not responsible for this, like your jaw and your neck and your shoulders or your lower back. Don't let them step in and make that work happen. Make it work in the tummy. Now, if this feels like a really nice challenge for your abdominals and for that effort in your tummy, please stick with this level. If you want to work a bit harder, you can bring both legs off, make a little double tabletop. I'm going to show you ways to kind of make that somewhere in between the two. So again, it should be your tummy's doing the work here, maybe a little bit of effort here in your legs, but your back, your shoulders, it is not their job to do this. See if you can let go in those areas. So if you want some modifications, you can either hug your knees together. That can sometimes feel like you're getting a little bit more support. You can keep your legs, the thighs where they are, your knees over your hips, and just let your feet soften down. So your feet are still off the floor, but you've got a very slopey shelf now of your shins. I want you just to play around with that. Where do you get the abdominal work? And if you feel like this just constantly is coming into your back, if you take your hands and just tuck them underneath your pelvis, that might give you just enough support to get it into the tummy and roll out of any tightness in the lower back. So you're using those abdominal muscles, you're using that tummy, you're letting yourself stay there. And just like before, I'm not going to tell you when you should stop. I want you just to kind of stay here and you feel that effort. Tune into when is pride taking over? When is those kind of messages about what you should do and how hard you should work, how much you should give, and you can't stop? Are they still talking? Can you tune into when you go, yeah, I need to stop now, and you can put a leg down or two legs down and rest and go again when you feel you've recovered. I also want you to tune in, like we were saying, where is trying to take over? This is your tummy's role. Where is trying to take over? Is it your neck? Is it your jaw? Is it your lower back? And again, just ask yourself, where else in your life is trying to take over? What messages have you got? What you should be doing? Or how life should look? Or what you're meant to do? When are they interrupting with that moment where you go, actually, yeah, it's time for me to rest. It's time for me to step back and pause for a moment. What I've done is good. What I've done is satisfying. And you can keep coming in and out of this position. And if you've completely had enough, and you know that, honor that, and just let yourself rest. We're only going to stay here a little bit longer anyway before we come to the second part of our session. When you're ready, I want you to let your legs just sink down towards your body. You can grab them with your hands if you want to. And just pause for a moment again. Feel the contrast now as you settle those legs. Change in sensations. The awareness that what you have done is good. And in your own time, I'm going to let you find a position of comfort on your mat, whether that's legs stretched out or feet on the floor. And if you want a blanket or your jumper, you are very welcome to grab that. We're actually going to spend the second half of this session fairly still, which I didn't tell you at the beginning, did I? I just said it was all going to be hard work. Instead, we are going to be still. And we are going to do an extended time of exploring contentment. And as we transition from that hard work, as we settle down, allow yourself just that moment of noticing the hard work, noticing the effort. So just notice the heat that you have built in your body, that energy, that effort that you have created. Do you know it's enough? Do you know if you did nothing else, nothing, not one more thing, it would all be enough? One of the greatest gifts God gives us is the calling back. Come back to me. in our effort, in our busyness, in our hard work. Off we go. Our eyes are down. We're grafting, we're focusing on all the things that we need to. And God is there saying, come back. Come back to me. Not because he's controlling, but because what you've done is enough. It is good. It is pleasing. And you can be truly satisfied and filled up knowing that you have done more than enough. So I wonder, as we start to think about contentment, what's worrying you? What's distracting you? Where are you striving and overworking? And as always in this space, we notice our thoughts, our feelings, what we feel we're being shown without judgment, without trying to fix it quickly and justify it in our mind. And if you can, just allow Holy Spirit to show you ever so gently all those different pots that you're stirring. It reminds me of a cooking program that I was watching with my son. And the chef created the most beautiful meal. It just looked incredible. And I looked and thought, oh, wow, yeah, looks delicious. But his commentary was that his sauce had started to divide. And he explained that what he had done is he had left it on the heat for too long. And that would make the sauce lose its vibrancy and the oil would separate. And there would be this, he knew that it would go out to the judges and it would leave this lingering oily taste on their mouth, and it wasn't reflecting the sauce that it was. So I would ask you now, what have you left on the heat for too long? What are you trying to overcook? What is on your radar right now and occupies your mind? What distracts and worries you? Are you busy creating and making and doing all week long? I'm going to use a technique called circle of ownership tonight. And this is something often utilized in different practices like meditation or mindfulness or yoga. We're going to think about what is actually within our circle of ownership. So first of all, I want you to go back to those things that I was saying. What's on your radar this week? What's occupying your mind, distracting or worrying you? What are you striving for this week? I'd encourage you, if there's a lot of things going on, maybe just pick one or two. And then imagine around your circle, around your mat, you have drawn a circle that you are now placed within that circle. And we're going to do a bit of mental filing. So thinking about those activities, those jobs, those tasks, those conversations you need to have over the coming days and weeks. The ones that are occupying your mind, that are on your radar. And you start thinking, where do they sit? Do they sit outside of your circle of ownership? Or are they sitting within it? I know my usual reaction to this is, well, it's both. I see it sitting across both parts. So I'm going to ask you, just pick one of those things. And if you're not sure how to work out which parts of it sit within your circle and which bits sit outside of the circle, I'd ask you which bits of it are being driven by fear or a sense of lack, or constantly distracting you and not moving you forwards. It's almost like it just keeps stalling at that point. Those are the things that I would put on the outside of your circle. Then what aspects of that do you notice the satisfaction coming up from them? Which bits are within your control? Which bits can you actually influence or change? I'm going to ask you to place those in the circle on your mat with you. And if some of that feels uncomfortable, I want you to know that God is the ultimate owner. And we are just the stewards. We're just looking after it. So when you hear that, does it help you breathe a sigh of relief that you can place it out of the circle? Or does it make you want to grip onto it a bit harder? We are all called to be part of the process, part of the whole entire system that God has created. And your part is enough. It is valuable. And what you do is seen. But we are not the process. So we're going to keep our attention inside our circle now. And I ask you to think this week, these coming weeks and months, what things are inside the circle that you can take ownership of, that you can be that part of the process. These parts bring us peace. They bring us joy and satisfaction. And these are the things that we can cast our mind onto and ponder. So very simply, I want you to pick the one thing you know you need to let go of, or step back from, or just lighten your grip on outside of your circle. And just pick one thing for now. It needs to be inside your circle. Starting with the thing that's inside your circle. Can you allow it to become more vibrant? Allow the colors of it to become stronger. For the sense and the word or the emotion of it to be bolder. Can you try that thing on? And by that, I mean, imagine yourself doing it, see it happening. Know that it is blessed and that God is satisfied in it. It is easy. His yoke is easy. What he asks of you is easy and light upon you. You're allowed to have peace in it. You're allowed to have joy in it. And that contentment and gratitude is just merely the expression of it. Give it color. Give it vibrancy. And just momentarily in your mind, just imagine yourself glancing over your shoulder out of that circle. Noticing that thing that you put out of the circle. Just notice how dull it is. Maybe even blurry or small. Notice the contrast of the vibrancy, the energy, the ease of what is within your circle. And notice the distance between you and what is outside of your circle. The original hymn, "It Is Well With My Soul," was about struggle. and about things being hard and having to make it through that time, but finding that peace in that struggle. And I think when we hear it to the music, sometimes we feel there's set feelings we should have about it. So tonight, as we come towards the end of our session, I'm just going to read you the words of the modern version of it and that Redmond version of it. Because to me, it is well with my soul is exactly what satisfaction and contentment sounds like. And I'll just encourage you as I read this. There's just one or two words that jump out to you. See if you can put those inside your circle. Put them next to that thing that you have control. Our scars are a sign of grace in our lives. And Father, how you brought us through. When deep were the wounds and dark was the night, the promise of your love, you prove now every battle still to come. Let this be our song. It is well with my soul. It is well. It is well with my soul. Weeping may come, remain for a night, but joy will paint the morning sky. You're there in the fast, you're there in the feast. Your faithfulness will always shine. Now every blessing still to come, let this be our song. It is well with my soul. It is well. It is well with my soul. You lead us through battles. You lead us to blessings and make us fruitful. In the land of our sufferings, God, and it is well. It is well with my soul. I trust your ways. I trust your name. And this is well. It is well with my soul. It is well. It is well with my soul. My soul. May your striving be released. May you know your effort and your work is good. It is seen and enough. May you find the peace, joy, and the satisfaction of coming to rest. And in the next breath, may you find the peace, joy, and the satisfaction of going to work. Like the waves lapping at shore. May you know when to rest and when to work, when to retreat and when to come in. It is well. It is well with my soul. As with all our sessions, there's no distinct end. And I pray as we close, you can take that forward into your weeks, knowing when to rest, when to work, knowing that it's enough, and knowing that it's good. Please feel free to stay as long as you want. And when you are ready to move slowly, move gently.